What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to Picking a Fight. I'm Latch, and today we're going to be looking at UFC 280 Oliveira versus Makhachev. We're going to be looking at a very interesting matchup in the lightweight division between Beniel Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot. But before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't. We're putting out videos for almost every fight night and pay-per-view, so if you're looking for content like this, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. And let's hop right into it. So we got number 6 ranked Beniel Dariush. He's 21-4 with 1 draw. He is 33 years old. He's 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. And he's coming off a 7-fight win streak. And his last 2 are over Tony Ferguson and Diego Ferreira. And he is going up against the number 9 ranked Mateusz Gamrot. He's 21-1. He is 31 years old. He's 5'10" with a 70.5-inch reach. He's currently on a 4-fight win streak with his last 2 over Arman Tsarukyan and Diego Ferreira. And he's coming in as a -195 favorite over Beniel Dariush, who's a +165 dog. You know, Gamrot, he likes to switch stances when he's striking, but he is a wrestler through and through. He's a super agile wrestler. I think we saw that in his last fight against Tsarukyan. Those scrambles were insane to watch. It was a lot of fun, but even I got tired, watching those. He refuses to settle positions, which I think is going to really help him here against another grappler. When Tsarukyan shot for the takedowns and was pretty deep, he never settled. He continued to move, and this is where his athleticism kind of came in. Yeah, he's a way different athlete than Dariush is. Offensively, almost all his takedowns start from the single leg, and then he works from there. He's very persistent, especially against Tsarukyan, and even the fight against Ferreira. He didn't get all his takedowns. His success rate wasn't even that high, to be honest, but he was persistent and he eventually got it. He times his entrances pretty well, and he has the cardio to match. In his last fight, it was a 5-fight. That was brutal. That was so much cardio, so much wrestling. And in my opinion, Tsarukyan slowed down and Gamrot didn't. He was able to maintain that pace. Obviously, it wasn't easy for him, but he was able to maintain it better than Tsarukyan and ended up winning him that fight, in my opinion. But his striking does need a little work. I think in this fight, he's going to need to use his speed advantage on the feet, because Dariush will have, in my opinion, a very big power advantage, because Dariush is listed as 5'10", which is the same as Gamrot. But just look at their stature. Look how filled in they are. Dariush cuts a lot of weight to make 155, while Gamrot, he used to fight at 145. He was a champion at 145 and 155. So he's a little more lean, a little more lighter, and I think he'll have a lot less power than Dariush, but I think he needs to use his speed. Do not brawl with this man Dariush. We saw it with Drakkar. Diego Ferreira tried it, and Dariush can give out a lot of punishment. So I don't think Gamrot will do that, especially because he tends to move a lot. He doesn't really plod forward. He uses his footwork a lot to go side to side. Dariush is a southpaw, but he is a grappler through and through. But unlike Gamrot, he is not a wrestler. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's very well rounded. He's rounded out his game throughout the years. He used to be pretty one-dimensional, and his striking is still a little sloppy, but he does have some bright spots. Like, he has a very good jab, a very strong jab. When he ends up throwing the 1-2, his 2 is very powerful, and he got that old man strength to kind of make up for his speed. And his grappling is elite, his jiu-jitsu is elite, but will it hold up? I always believe that great wrestling will always smother great jiu-jitsu. I think that's just the way it is in MMA. And so for me, the biggest question is Dariush's wrestling good enough? Is it good enough to get Gamrot off of him? Because if it ain't, obviously he has great jiu-jitsu, but I think Gamrot might be too good of a wrestler. But the bright side and like the biggest question for Gamrot is his wrestling strong enough? We saw in the Tsarukyan fight, he was able to hold Tsarukyan down, and Tsarukyan is a strong guy. He's very small, very stocky. I don't know if his wrestling is great to that level where it will smother Dariush's great jiu-jitsu. It's a big question, especially because Gamrot he did fight Tsarukyan and he was able to best him in some scrambles, but he was never dominant. But that was a through and through wrestler. I think we need to look at his fight against Ferreira. That he took him down. He was able to control him, land some big knees, but it did take a little while. So I don't know in 3 rounds if he'll be able to kind of apply his wrestling and dominate with it. But those are big questions that are going to be answered Saturday night, and I believe that his wrestling is good enough to smother Dariush's jiu-jitsu, and I think he's going to completely avoid the feet. Obviously, Dariush is so dangerous on the feet. I do not want Gamrot standing up. So I think if Gamrot kind of plays it to his game and uses his wrestling to kind of smother Dariush's offense, I think he wins by decision. So I'm going to go with Gamrot by decision. But let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm underestimating him? He's been underestimated his whole run at lightweight, basically, And let me know what you think the outcome of this fight is going to be. But yeah, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, and it's going to be a great night of fights. Don't forget to tune in. This card is absolutely stacked. UFC 280 Oliveira versus Makhachev. I'll see you next week.